So the past couple years have been a tricky time to be a Dragon Ball fan. With the unfortunate passing of creator Akira Toriyama in early 2024, the franchise has been in a state of uncertainty, with no one knowing exactly what's going to happen next. But as of the time I'm writing and recording this, we just got probably the biggest Dragon Ball news in years. And that is Dragon Ball Super: The Galactic Patrol, the anime adaptation of the Galactic Prisoner arc of the Dragon Ball Super manga. To which I say, finally! Now before I get any further, I'll say that this video will come with spoilers to this arc, so if you don't want to know anything about it, please turn away now. Alright, you have been warned. So let's start off with a brief summary. The Galactic Prisoner arc, aka the Moro arc, stars the titular Moro, an evil wizard who escapes from galactic prison after 10 million years. Not being able to stop him alone, the Galactic Patrol recruits Goku and Vegeta to hunt Moro down and return him to prison before he consumes the entire galaxy. As for my opinion, I absolutely love this arc. Moro was actually my favorite Dragon Ball villain since Frieza. Only topped because Frieza is just my favorite Dragon Ball character in general. This is because of how Moro was such a stark contrast to Dragon Ball villains before him. In the ye olden days of Z, villains essentially just boiled down to, hit them really, really hard and they'll die. But Moro is a villain who really can't be beaten with brute force. In fact, it's actually established that Goku and Vegeta outclass him in power, but because of Moro's ability to absorb energy, that actually works against them. So they need to come up with new techniques and strategies that aren't just get stronger. I'll stop there since I don't want this to just be a summary video, but I hope you can understand why I love the Moro arc so much, and it always felt like it was done dirty by the fact that it hadn't been animated, because it's more than worthy to get the anime treatment. Let me break it down. If the Moro arc is animated, fans receive a cool new show to enjoy and talk about with friends, and the companies behind Dragon Ball receive more publicity, exposure, and most importantly, more money. Not to mention, it would be a very safe investment given how established the Dragon Ball IP is. It's purely win-win. So imagine my confusion over the past few years when I saw that not only had the Moro arc not been animated yet, but all the companies behind Dragon Ball seemed to be going out of their way not to animate it. I totally understand why the Super anime went on hiatus after the Tournament of Power, but in the years since, instead of simply continuing it, we've gotten things like the superhero movie and Daima, which I both like, don't get me wrong, but they weren't the obvious thing that should be animated. It's kind of like the Pokemon anime conundrum that I discussed a while back, where the Pokemon company will make a series of shorts that are what the perfect Pokemon anime would be like, but they seem to be adamant on not making a full series in this format. Their stance on this has actually gotten kinda worse since I made that video, because now there are a bunch of pointless Pokemon ideas that have gotten full series, yet they still haven't taken the obvious path they should in regards to Pokemon animation. Oh yeah, Pokemon Generations, we don't need any more of that. But you know what we do need? The misadventures of Sirfetch'd and Pichu. That'll really get fans excited. Look, I'm not saying that it's going to be bad, and I have a lot of respect for Aardman. But come on, who asked for this? Hell, we got another one of these side projects during this same Dragon Ball panel. That being a remake of the Beerus arc. Which I mean, why? Now apparently this new iteration is gonna be closer to Toriyama's original vision for Beerus, which I guess is interesting, but that's a lot of unnecessary effort for just a few different details. They could have just shared what these details were, or found a way to work them into future arcs. But no, I guess they wanted to spend a lot more time and a lot more money to give us a slightly altered version of something that we already have. But hey, at least the fans also got what they actually asked for alongside it. Because if they had just announced this remake, I probably would have lost my mind. And not in a very good way. But back to the topic at hand. The reveal of the Moro arc being animated is huge, and could be a sign that we're finally exiting this uncertain period for Dragon Ball. There's obviously more questions to be answered, such as what's going to happen with the Dragon Ball Super manga, but this is definitely a step in the right direction. I've heard a lot of people debate on whether the story of Dragon Ball should continue or not following Toriyama's passing, and I personally am of the belief that it should continue. Now, if it's determined that it would be most in line with Toriyama's wishes to not continue it, I'll obviously honor that decision. But I just think there are so many more stories to tell us with this franchise, and that it would be a waste to let those stories slip by. But that's still a ways away. For now, we just got a very good announcement that gives hope for the future of this franchise. One of the only caveats is that there wasn't a release date given, so that makes me a little worried about how much longer we still have to wait. But hey, at least we know it's real and it's happening. And that is alright with me.